Are your skis not as fast as they used to be? And is your wallet empty? Well, lucky for you, I can help you out with your problems. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to show you how true shredders wax their skis. At home, and for very little money. All you're going to need for this gnarly procedure is your good old skis, your mama's old clothes iron, your 3 brushes, brass, nylon, and horsehair, a scraper, and your wax. You can pick these all up at your local shred store near you. I'm going to be using these Swix ski waxing vices. If you do not own a pair of vices, you can just use some plywood or whatever you have at home to hold your skis. To start out this procedure, you're going to want to push down on your brake of your bindings, hook the ski, hook the brake with the rubber band, wrap it around, and get over there. Now your brakes won't bug you when you're waxing your ski. Alright, so now that your ski's on its front side and you have the vise all clamped down on it, you're going to take your scraper. We got our Don't Eat Yellow Snow Scraper. And you're going to scrape from tip to tail to get off any junk that you might have on there from the last time you went skiing. Then you're going to take your wire brush and do a couple passes down it. I usually do 2 or 3. Alright, now that you got that done, you're going to take, we're going to be using some North wax forged by Swix. And you're just going to rub a thin layer of that down the ski just to protect it from any burning that might happen. Because you don't want your ski to burn when you're using your hot iron to melt the wax on. Because that's, you can't go back from that. Once that happens, your ski's pretty ruined because it bubbles and stuff. And you can't really get the base fixed. So we're just going to put a thin layer of wax on the ski. There we go. Now that that's done, we can move on to the next step. Okay, so now the next step, you're going to want to make sure your iron is hot enough to melt your wax. So let's see. Yeah, it's melting it. So you're just going to take your iron and melt your wax in a zigzag way all the way down to the back of your ski and maybe one line back through up. Just make sure you have enough wax to cover your whole ski. So let's do that. Alright, so you've made it this far. You got your wax melted on here, partially. So now we're going to have to make it seep in really well. So make sure your iron is always moving when you go over this, because we're just going to move super slow over it. You don't want to move too fast or else it won't soak in too well, and you don't want to move too slow or else you might burn your base and it might bubble, and that's unfixable, and then you're just kind of screwed because you don't got any good skis anymore. Alright, so your ski should be done waxing by now, a couple hours later. So it should feel cold to the touch, or at least room temperature. But my garage is pretty cold, so it feels pretty cold. So now we're going to do the most satisfying part, or my favorite part. And we're going to take our Don't Eat Yellow Snow Scraper, like I said before. And we're going to scrape all this wax off and make the ski move fast on the snow. So we're going to want to get as much wax off as possible. wax is almost all off, pretty much all off. There might be a little bit left on the edges, like by the tail and the nose. Do some fine touching and tuning up there. Then most wax scrapers have this little notch right here that is used to like run across the edges to make sure none's left on there. So you can use that, but if yours doesn't have that, you can just run it across the side like this, or however you want. And it should get the wax off so it doesn't affect your... Ski is pretty much finished now. Alright, so now your ski has been waxed, you've scraped it all off. Now we got to do the brushes. So you got your brass brush that you used first off to clean it up. And then you have your nylon brush is what we're going to use right now. And we're going to do a few passes. I usually do about 5 just to get all the particles out. So now that you're done with the nylon brush, we're going to move on to the fine tuning with the horsehair brush. And pretty much just going to want to keep moving it down the line, getting out as many particles of wax you can. And the more times you do this, the better your skis. So you can't do this too much. So just keep doing it over and over again, and the faster your skis will become. Finish with the horsehair brush, you're pretty much done with the whole procedure, and you can go shred the slopes. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe.